You're not gonna believe what it looks like.
The reptile room is fixed.
Yeah, that's right. The entire reptile room is fixed. If you don't know, the basement actually flooded and it was raining through this ceiling and the walls got all saturated with water. And so the past week, a guy's been coming in every single day and he's replaced the walls, he's replaced the ceiling, and this place looks spick and span and good to go. So today we're gonna be moving all of this stuff, or at least most of it, back into the reptile room. Anyway, let's get to it. This is gonna be heavy, and this is gonna be heavy. I'm gonna need help.
Hello?
Yeah, dude.
Hello there, sir.
Hello.
The first thing we need to move is that nasty thing, and the other thing we gotta move is that thing.
The first thing we moved was Eleanor, the Argentine boa constrictor. She's in this 75-gallon enclosure. We moved the aquarium first, and then we moved the stand. I decided that Eleanor, the Argentine boa, and her enclosure would make a great centerpiece, and so we decided to put it in the center of the room. After deciding which way we wanted to position the enclosure, we got Eleanor situated and went back out to get the alligator snapping turtles ready to move. First things first is getting rid of the stagnant water in this enclosure. Alligator snapping turtles are super tough and did just fine in the past month that they were in this position, but it would be really nice to have nice, fresh, clean water that looks good and allows me to put fish in for them to eat. Having all that water in the aquarium also made it way too heavy for us to manage, and so taking some out allowed us to get it into the other room. Okay, we got the heavy things moved and I can get the rest of it by myself, but there's a couple things we need to go pick up if you're cool with it. Let's go. The first thing we needed to do was go over to my parents' house about 5 minutes away to pick something up and then drop off at my house. So these are the wrecks that we are taking. They need painted, but I'm not gonna do that right now. We're gonna load them up and take them home. I traded cars with my parents so that we'd have space for what we were gonna be picking up next, but then we headed home to drop off the racks. My friend who is helping me today actually wants to stay anonymous for professional reasons. He works at a zoo that is very strict on their rules, and so he doesn't want to risk anything. For that reason, I'm going to be referring to him as Chuck today. I'll probably give him a new name every time. I took both of the racks downstairs only to realize later on that I would only be needing one of them for the time being. Each metal rack holds two 55-gallon aquariums, and I thought it would be a really cool concept to put a rack on either side of the Argentine boa, and each rack would hold a male and a female of a snake species. After dropping off the racks, we actually ended up driving about 30 minutes out to one of my friend's houses. My friend is an older guy who actually bought the metal racks that we just dropped off, as well as some 55-gallon aquariums which we're about to pick up. He bought them at a garage sale, decided he didn't want them, and was kind enough to give them to me. He's also kind enough to let me dump all of my branches and tree limbs on his burn pile. And I have a lot because many of you may not know, but I have a lawn care business that I started last year. And also, I feel like I should mention that he is one of the people who got me into reptiles at a very young age. I like to call him my reptile grandpa. My church used to do carnivals in the summer, and he used to set up a snake tent. He would bring milk snakes, corn snakes, and all sorts of stuff, but he also brought huge pythons like the Burmese python. There's a photo of me as a 3-year-old holding a big old 15-footer, and it is just an absolute favorite photo of mine. So big old shout out to my friend Kirk. Here are the two 55-gallon aquariums that we are picking up. Kirk bought them at a garage sale from a former koi dealer, and so they're super dirty, but once it's a little bit warmer outside, I'm going to clean them up and take them down to the basement for the racks. Once I clean these bad boys and find lids for them, I am going to be putting them on the racks, and on one rack I'm going to be putting olive pythons, and in the other rack I'm going to be putting Woma pythons. Like I said, these are just going to the backyard for now. I probably could have moved these by myself, but it would have been way harder and probably not quite as enjoyable.
Thank you for your help, sir.
A man of few words. Or maybe just awkward in front of the camera.
My boy Chuck is gone, and now I need to move all this back into the reptile room.
I'm just gonna set the camera right here and I'm just gonna start bringing stuff in. So basically what you guys are gonna be seeing is me bringing a whole bunch of stuff in, and then I'll just be rearranging it all over the place because I'm not 100% sure how I would like it arranged. What I'm doing right now is bringing in all of the 10-gallon enclosures that were on the large storage rack that I have, as well as some of the smaller tubs with the Asian green rat snakes. And then, of course, I bring in the actual rack. At first, I thought I was going to put it in the center of the wall. I ended up changing my mind a little bit later. And so now I'm putting the enclosures on the rack. First guy was Hot Dog, my rubber boa. Next up was Hermione, my bull snake. And then was my green bottle blue tarantula. Next up were a couple of invertebrates I actually haven't shown you. I'll have to put those in my next reptile room tour. The bottom enclosure is actually empty. I'm going to be putting my Japanese rat snake in there later on. And then last but not least is my western hognose snake, Meatball. The next thing I'm bringing in is the 155-gallon aquarium that I am putting on the rack. Inside of it is my male olive python. My original name for this olive python was Oliver, since I couldn't really think of anything more original. But I ended up changing his name to Juzzie, Juzzie, because one of my favorite musical artists is a one-man band named Juzzie Smith, and he is from Australia. So I just put on a few lights in the Argentine boa and the olive python. Just turned on right there, if you saw that, and kind of watch it as it changes color. It's kind of interesting. As it heats up, it becomes a little bit more white. Right about here, you're gonna see it turn white. Isn't that interesting? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna be bringing more stuff in a second. The next thing I'm bringing in so recklessly is actually a desk. I had a friend who was trying to get rid of it. It's not the greatest desk, but it serves its purpose. On top of it will go the 40-gallon aquarium, in which I will be putting Big Chungus once I upgrade his enclosure. Big Chungus is my South African bullfrog, and in that tub that I just put under the desk is Tina, my American toad. I actually ended up changing my mind about leaving the olive python on the ground. I decided to go ahead and pick it up by myself and put it on the rack. After wrapping the cord behind the rack and the enclosure, I got the light turned back on. You can see me standing there pondering on what to do to make it look a little bit better, and I ended up deciding to move the rack into the corner. I pulled it back a little bit too far and almost got myself stuck. The new decision was to turn the desk 90 degrees to make it flat against the wall. I hope this isn't too boring of a video for you guys. I know I'm not really showing any animals, but I thought you might find it interesting how I am arranging my reptile room. If you are enjoying it, make sure to let me know in the comments and by leaving a like. This is me realizing that I did not need to put the 40-gallon tank on top of the desk, and so I took it off and decided to bring Big Chungus himself in to put on the desk. What I hope to do in the near future is upgrade Big Chungus from the 20-gallon enclosure on the desk to the 40-gallon enclosure on the floor. I will do that by getting some glass cut to create a glass partition in the middle of the 40-gallon enclosure. I will then create a water area and a land area so that Big Chungus has the choice of where he wants to hang out. Next in are tubs of supplies. I don't breed cockroaches right now, but the first tub is supplies for breeding cockroaches. The next is a bunch of decor. The last tub is full of extra electronic things such as heat pads, extension cords, you name it. And the last animals to bring in are the snakes and the snake racks. So I'm bringing in the big snake rack first. Inside of that one are the two Woma pythons, Wiggles and Wombat. In this next section of the snake rack are 3 female albino Nelson's milk snakes. In the final snake rack that I bring in the top 2 drawers are my male and female Mexican black king snake, and in the bottom drawer is my male albino Nelson's milk snake. Except for the leopard geckos, every animal has now been moved back into the reptile room. Here's what it looks like walking in the front door. We got the alligator snapping turtles on the left. We got the snake rack on the right. We've got the Argentine boa. We've got the olive python. We've got Big Chungus, the African bullfrog. We've got Tina the toad. And we've got all the small baby snakes on the rack. In this little closet here, it actually is supposed to have doors right here, but the doors keep coming off, so we're just going to probably leave them off. We've got tubs of supplies and just extra storage space, which will get filled up real fast. And yeah, that is the reptile room. This is how it's going to look. I haven't added heat pads, thermostats, or timers to some of the enclosures that need it. However, I'll be doing that this evening after I run off to an appointment. I'll be back with you guys shortly. My appointment was indeed a good old leg day at the gym. Just had a good workout. Got home a few hours ago. We're gonna be working on this alligator snapping enclosure. We're gonna add water. We're gonna turn on the filter, turn on the water heater, get these guys happy. First things first. Here's two of them covered in sand. Let me go get a bucket real quick. Snapping turtles go in this bucket. I'm gonna put the big old piece of driftwood in this tub right here. And now is the time to fill this turtle aquarium with water. As you can see here, I'm filling these gallon water jugs with water, and I'm dumping them into my aquarium one at a time. If it was warmer weather outside right now, I would be running a water hose through the front door, down the stairs, into this aquarium, making it so much easier. But unfortunately, it is freezing outside, so this is the way. I'm just glad to have a sink so close by, because back when I lived at my parents', I had to go up and down a flight of stairs each time I wanted to refill. Now I'm probably doing these steps backwards, but don't judge me. Hardened water deposits have covered the side of the enclosure over time, and they need to go. So I started with a brush. I basically just wanted to get the sides wet so that the water would hopefully soften the deposits. Then using a razor blade and being careful not to scratch the glass, I began to scrape off all of the water deposits. I got a good chunk of deposits off of the sides of the aquarium, but I will have to keep on working on it later on. Luckily for the turtles, they don't care. This is purely for aesthetic. Well, you get the point. It looks way better now, and I'm gonna keep working on it later on, but for now, that is fine. Let's add the filter. I believe that concludes this video. All of the animals are moved back in. I've added lights and heat pads to most animals. Water is back in the alligator snapping turtle enclosure. There's still more to do in this room, but I'm not going to be showing you on camera. You'll be seeing changes and animal updates in the next Reptile Room tour that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. Without further ado, if you've already liked this video, give yourself a pat on the back. If you're already subscribed to my channel, give yourselves a round of applause. And if you haven't liked this video or subscribed to this channel, I'm gonna stand here and eat chicken strips until you do.